So I have a pretty good sizable check, but before I present that, I want to tell you how privileged and honored I am to be here and congratulate you on your new facility. It's absolutely beautiful. It came up, and I've been here a couple of years ago, and I'm like, I don't even know this. It's just unbelievable, so my congratulations to you, to your staff, to your public. What a great representation this is for the service that you provide. And this check here is it's a little big for the ATM. But you've got the other one. I would like very much to present this to the Antelope Valley East Kern Water Agency. It's my privilege and honor to give you back $73,971 back. Thank you for your good stewardship, your good participation in the pool. The best claims are those that don't happen. And if you could, I would like to kind of brag on our agencies. Could I get the board members to come down? We'll get a photo op. Great. Okay. So, congratulations.
You get it.
It's on the phone.
Yes, Shelley Thorson.
And congratulations to your vice president too. So
Yes.
anyway, if we could here, make sure it's straight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is
Review the purchase order.
Yeah, so, well, it is a little bit of a different process.
Yeah.
So, everybody, the directors in front of you, there's a sheet here, all the bills have been reviewed. There's, yeah, no, it's not that one, it's the one with the,
Actually, this is the proposal. We're going to do an explanation of what the process is. The new process will start at the next board meeting. What we provided you is just a sample of what the checklist would look like. So it's a sample over the top there. So you give you an idea. It's just an exhibit.
so basically, we're not gonna have any more supplements coming at the day of the board meetings, they're all gonna be.
Correct.
Also, the second thing on here is that we've added on the left, far left column with all the check numbers as well, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that, yeah. So I'll move on, board order 781.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Shelley Sorsable,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Frank Donato,
Yes.
Justin Lane,
Yes.
Marlon Barnes,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes. Carried.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Brent. Since Committee Chairman Harris is not here for item 7B yet, we'll move on to item 7C, Regional Water Bank Management Committee. Committee Chairman Barnes, you have a report?
Yes, and I'll refer that to gentleman.
Yes, what we have for you today is a PowerPoint presentation on the water plan for 2018. What we have here is, this is a somewhat new form that we've created this particular year, and it's associated with the available water supply sources. You should have a copy of this on your desk there. It'll also contain water demand projections and our water supply for 2018. And we plan to update this on a regular basis through the course of the year to see how it goes. With the board's indulgence here, I'll go into a little bit of detail as to how this particular tracking form was created and the numbers that are on here. Starting with the far right-hand side, it looks at imported water supplies, and what we've included in here is 2017 and 2018 water supplies. And you can see from the chart here, in an 85% year, we had 123,000 acre feet of water. In a 20% year, which we are this year, it's 28,969. One of the key components from a good year is carryover water. That's the amount of water that we have available that we purposely store in San Luis Reservoir to get us started for a particular dry year. We also acquire certain other waters that we've identified for you here. Some of these are zeros, but Article 21 water is occasionally available. Turnback pool water, other state water project water that might be available. Yuba Accord water, which is 1,100 acre feet we are anticipating this year. And the nickel water, which we have a contract for, which would be 1,700 acre feet. And those are all imported supplies. So this provides the agency with 71,537 acre feet of imported supplies for 2018. And it, wait, sure, I'm going back here.
Okay.
Let's see if I got this right. One more, there it is.
The question I have is, we talked about earlier, I think it was yesterday, about the rain they're getting in Northern California.
Correct.
Can we expect something probably soon?
If there's, that storm didn't produce the level of rain that they had anticipated, and so they were already at a deficit at 20%. So if we get anything at all at the end of, about April 15th is kind of the end of the year, when they do their final allocation, I don't expect much, 5% maybe, other than that, so not much.
We have more than enough water right here.
Yeah, we do, and the picture gets better as we keep going down. So we also, as part of the adjudication, for the first time, have an allocated production rate from the groundwater 3910 that's shown here. Also, we have a return flow credit from previous water that we have used within the groundwater bank that's not by our customers who are part of the return flow credit program. So we have 472 acre feet. These are numbers that come from the water master. So when we add that with our banks water, and this is where the story gets to be better and better, you can see that we have, this is the bank stored water to date. This is what we have to date. So we have 5,127 acre feet in the high desert water bank. We have the west side water bank that has 89,180 acre feet, plus the east side bank has 2,633. And we also, if you remember from the transfer last year, we have 11,634 acre feet that's located in the CIM water bank that has our name on it. So if you add those all up, we have 108,582 acre feet. And this is water that is available to us. So the 10% has been factored out. So this is actual water we can pump and utilize for ourselves. We also have transfer and exchange water that was that's available to us. So in 2000, okay, didn't like that answer. Okay, so Santa Clara returned 11,250 acre feet in 2017. So that's available to us in 2018. We also received 7,903 acre feet back from the Central Coast Water Authority through these exchanges. We also received 9,000 acre feet of water from Metropolitan Water District last year, And that's water that that is their water that we'll have to return in the future. So that's why you see it bracketed as a negative number there. So we have a total of the 10,153 acre feet. So if you look at our imported supplies, groundwater supplies, bank storage supplies, and transfer and exchange water that we've received, we have 194,654 acre feet available this particular water year, even in a 20% year. So you can see the advantage that you have to meet customer demands using the banking program. So that's the available water supply, and that's what we're calculating these various items on.
Dwayne,
Yes.
regarding the water returned to us from Santa Clara and Central Coast, physically, where is that water now?
It's in the groundwater bank.
Thank you.
How much, are we anticipating another 70,000 this year of recharge?
We are not, and I'll get to that in my next water use plan. So these are demands, customer demands, and we've broken it down. We've actually gone into some detail here, if you bear with me, in order to see exactly where the water is going to go. So we have the west feeder. We have customers that are going to utilize 6 acre feet along that west feeder, is primarily the Poppy Reserve. As far as the north feeder, we have a total of 4,593 acre feet of customer demand. We're anticipating that coming from our banked water, and also all that water is coming from our banked water. No native groundwater there. Serve that supply. You can see we got 25,440 acre feet coming from the court, being delivered to the Quartz Hill Water Treatment Plant to feed the south feeder. And our customer demands from the 80th and H area, we're looking at 3,904 acre feet, which is the minimum that's necessary. I want to remind you that that's a treated water line that has to have movement of that water on a constant basis to keep it fresh, and so that's the minimum amount that we can deliver, and that will come from banked water supplies. We also have here customer demands for the east feeder, and you can see we got 1,483 from the State Water Project and 1,328 coming from the banked water supplies that we have on the east side water bank, and that's to maintain water quality there for a total. Then we have customer demands from other turnouts. Primarily this is raw water that we provided these turnouts. You can see you got the Lake Hughes feeder and the Rancho Vista turnout, and we're anticipating from the Acton feeder 1,360 acre feet to be delivered there based on Waterworks' current demand in that area.
Go back for a second.
Sure.
You said Lake Hughes, you mean Lake Elizabeth or Lake Hughes?
Well, it's Lake Elizabeth through that facility.
The only reason I brought that up is because there is a turnout right out of Lake Hughes.
Right. It's that.
Muntz Ranch Road or whatever?
Yeah, that's where it's at. Where that treatment plant is over on that
so
side.
what about the one, that's, no, that's Lake Elizabeth. What's coming out of Lake Hughes? Or Muntz Ranch Road?
I believe that's all the water that's coming through this Lake Elizabeth feeder here.
No, they're two different lines. You know what I'm talking about, John?
The pump, excuse me.
The Kaneki, the Kaneki, you know, the turnout out there, that Kaneki, what's it called? I call it the Kaneki.
That was not the only turnout being used is on Manager Ranch Road, the small pump station, and that pumps water to Lake Elizabeth, mutual water.
What about those people that are getting the water off our?
Oh, they're on the feeder itself. They're using, we have 3 customers.
It's all incorporated in the city.
Oh, so you do it?
We just call that whole lake practically.
Right.
Okay. You think we should call it Lake Hubert? I think we should call it
Lake Elizabeth, we'll change it.
Yeah, because they don't
Yeah.
get it. Okay.
Okay. See if I get this right. The other thing that you'll see here is we're going to have and this is to answer your question, Director Donato. Our banking that we're proposing for 2018 includes 2,896 acre feet to the High Desert Water Bank and 11,670 acre feet for the West Side Water Bank and 1,279 acre feet for the East Side Water Bank. This is, it's not exact, but it's pretty close in proportion to the amount of water that we're pumping out. So essentially the water banks will remain status quo because of the water that we're utilizing for water quality purposes.
No, that water is, so what we're doing is replacing what we're taking out.
Correct.
Does that include the 10%?
Yes, that includes the 10%. And so we still have a little bit of obligations left to own ranch to close out that particular exchange that happened in the early 2012-2013 period. These numbers of 5433 and 1746 in essence will return all the water that that we owe Tahoe, so we'll be flush with Tahoe at the end of this period. Matter of fact, most of this water has already been delivered for this year. We have 600 acre feet, which we're anticipating to return to Little Rock Irrigation District, and then we have 1,700 for San Gregorio that we deliver, which is that nickel water. And
Can those people take more water because we have, since we have like around a surplus this year, can they take more than that nickel water? Do they need? I don't know if they need it.
yeah, at the present time they don't need it. I've made that offer, so needed this particular time. And then we're anticipating delivering and maintaining 20,000 acre feet in storage for next year in San Luis Reservoir. So we're considering that actual production, even though we don't work it in. So if you look at it from a summary of all of this, we have customer demands of 39,165. The banking recharge demands, is about 15,000 acre feet. The transfers at 9,479 acre feet, and then state water project carryover 20,000. So we have a total demand of 84,488 acre feet. So that's what we're going to be. That's what the demands of the system have. So, and this corresponds. We take this information and then we put it together into a what we call a water supply plan for 2018. And without going through all the various items, you can see where we're delivering the water. This is all the imported water, about 45,184 acre feet being delivered. We have the transfer and exchange water of 9,479 and the 20,000 for San Luis Reservoir. You can see groundwater deliveries, we're not anticipating any. We will make the $50 lease offer out to the various agencies. However, we don't believe that the conditions will warrant utilization of any of that, given the other supplies. And then you have the same number here for the bank supplies that we talked about previously. So, and we do all that so that we can show this summary here. So we got 45,184 of total state water project delivery. We got $9,479 for existing transfers and exchanges. We got the $20,000, the carryover, and our recovery from the bank water at $9,825. So if you take the total supply we have available minus what our demand's going to be at 84, we have 110,166 acre feet remaining going into the next year, or available for any carryover or exchange in the following year. The good news is the vast majority of that's going to be located here in the Antelope Valley as opposed to other locations. So the agency's in a good position moving forward with the available water supply. For us, a new form for the board. Hopefully, I haven't got too detailed here, but I wanted to let you know the kind of detail that the staff goes through to analyze, exactly where the water is, how much we should use where, and the process that we go through. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
The new format is excellent. Very understanding, and screens that you put in front of us are a lot easier to read them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I really like it. It's good.
Dwayne, I have one question.
Microphone, please.
The question I have is,
First, you can give us your name and
John Joyce from Joyce Media, Inc. We publish the Roseman News, the Acton-Aguadulce News, and the Lake Los Angeles News. And what a great improvement. I can hear everything. I'm going to cancel my review of hearing aids for a while. My question is simple. How much, Dwayne, will the whole system hold storage water? If you filled up all the water banks and everything, do you guys have a number for that?
I would say that we have about 100, in round terms here, about 170, 180,000 acre feet of permitted capacity within the existing water banks. Now, once the High Desert Water Bank gets on board, we start going with facilities there, we can add substantially to that total.
So you might end up with at least a year, maybe 2 or 3 years supply.
Right now, we have 2 years of customer demands in storage right now. So,
Thank you.
with any kind of allocation of 25 or 30%, we really have 3 years.
Thank you.
Dwayne, does this water plan require a board order?
It really doesn't, but we just put board orders on a lot of things, just to let you know that just for the record, so that you've seen it. Obviously, these numbers will change with time, and we'll keep this updated for you. So.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions for Dwayne?
So that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Item 7B, Adjudication Water Master Committee. Committee Chairman Paris, do you have a report?
We have a meeting coming up on April 25th that we have in Portland. Really good for the public. And besides that, anything else you want to report to me?
I will add that we'll have a couple of public hearings that will be on that meeting. One is for the transfer procedures, so that will be considered by the Water Master Committee. Also, the order of water use will be discussed with the possible rules and regulation adoption of that. So there's 2 resolutions there. Also, we're going to continue with the pre-ramped down production amounts and discussion of that to correct that. We'll get an update on the Phelan Hills Community Services District, notice of their motion, and we'll have our audit for 16 and 17. So just a few of the highlights.
That will conclude my report.
Thank you very much. Item 7D, Planning Committee. 7D1, Big Rock Creek MOU. Dwayne?
Yes, I'd like to turn this over to, and if with the board's indulgence, I neglected to give credit where credit was due. The water form, the water heater form, the production form, that was completed by Tom Barnes, so I wanted to give him proper recognition for that. This report will be provided by the Assistant General Manager, Matt Kennedy.
Good evening. So we're here to talk about the potential to develop a big recharge project within the Big Rock Creek area. So this item was discussed with the Planning Committee about a week ago. And both the committee and staff are recommending that the board approve the MOU that's included in your board packet that is between AVEK, Palmdale Water District, Little Rock Creek Irrigation District, and the Antelope Valley State Water Contractors Association. A little background, as you know, we've been a member of the Antelope Valley State Water Contractors Association since 1999, and that association was formed between the three state water contractors here in the Antelope Valley, AVEK, Palmdale, and Little Rock. And the main driver of forming that JPA was to look at projects such as this, to do jointly, that would benefit all three state water contract agencies. So the MOU is laid out to develop the framework of how this project could be developed as a joint project. And the cost sharing would be split 47.5% by AVEK, 5% by Little Rock Creek Irrigation District, and the remaining 47.5% by Palmdale Water District. The initial phase of the project would include putting out an RFP, solicit proposals to do some feasibility study, to look at location within Big Rock Creek, the size, capacity, water quality, recovery component, all those things associated with feasibility studies, as well as do some CEQA work associated with the project. Up on the screen here you have an aerial image that we can quickly orient you with where this project will be. The red line is our AVEK boundary. And you can see down at the bottom right, there's a couple islands out there near the Crystal Air Golf Course, which are actually within AVEK service area. The blue and white dashed line going across the screen there is the California Aqueduct State Water Project. And you can see where it's labeled Big Rock Creek. That's where the natural drainage from the St. Gabriel Mountains flows into the Antelope Valley. So within this creek is where we're proposing to study the area and see if it's feasible to dump water within the existing creek. So it'd be minimal infrastructure needs. And then just let that water flow down the creek and recharge the basin. You can see the proximity to some of our existing facilities that are to the west. We have our Eastside Water Treatment Plant, our Eastside Water Bank, and then our East Feeder, which is the blue line flowing north. So if this view was expanded, you would see that the Big Rock Creek actually crosses our East Feeder. So there's potential for a lot of possibilities of recharging water within the creek and then being able to recover it and pump it right into our East Feeder to meet our customer demands. The idea of the MOU is to have this administered through the JPA. So JPA staff would administer the contract with the consultant that's selected and report that back not only to the commissioners but to each of the member agencies as different decisions need to be made on moving forward with the project. So not only are we asking the board tonight to consider approving the MOU, it's in your packet, but also commit $100,000 of budgeted funds from the agency's unused budget, portions of the unused budget, to commit to this project.
And that's associated with the East Side Water Bank. We have already contracted for that work, and we have $100,000 of funds that were budgeted that are not anticipated to be used this fiscal year so there's no increase in the budget in order to facilitate the project.
I have questions. The 100,000, okay, so I'm looking down here at the MOU, financial impact is an AB 47.5%, Palmville 47.5%. Okay, then I see Big Rock's 5. So is that, when we go forward with this, does that mean that's the percentage of water out of the group we would get to utilize in the future?
Not necessarily. The MOU is structured where the initial phase is just to do the feasibility study and the CEQA work. And these are the percentages that are proposed to do that work. Now, as we move along, it could be renegotiated between the parties as to what percentage we want to participate as far as capital and operation and maintenance.
How would you go, I mean, if we put 47% in, I mean, continuously towards Palmville, I mean, I think that would be fair. I mean, I'm not nothing against Little Rock Creek, but I don't expect them to get more than 5%.
Correct. And so the accounting will be readjusted once the project service agreement comes together. And if you have a 10% share, you will pay 10% of the cost. If you have a 60% share, you pay 60% of the cost, and so forth and so on. But through this initial design phase, just because of the size of the projects until we get the feasibility to know that it is a project, we're suggesting this type of financing structure, which is a lot different than the normal structures that we have through the AV State Water Contractors, where AVEK would pay 85% of the cost as opposed to this 47.5. So this is far more equitable as far as our cost share for the project. But once the project is defined and there's a certain capacity that each agency would have, that they would then reallocate all the costs based on that those capacities in the end. So if it turns out that it's a 47.5, then Little Rock would have a 5% share or a 5% capacity in the water that could be placed down the facility. If Little Rock, for example, wanted a 15% share, they'd have to come up with the balance of the revenue to cover their additional 15%.
Which you're saying is they can buy more into it if they.
Once the project, once we know we have a project and we have an idea what's going to cost.
So is Palmville paying 100,000 too?
Correct.
So saying whatever the 5%. So basically it's somewhere around $210,000 in total.
Well, we don't know the dollar amount yet for the feasibility study or CEQA work.
Why are we asking for so much money?
So this is just to put a cap on it, because when this was presented to the committee wanted to ensure that the funds committed to this were coming out of the existing approved budget. And the 100,000 is what we identified within the existing budget.
Total, or is that just our portion?
That's our portion.
So that's what I'm saying, but the total budget is how much? 200, I mean, you're not counting?
We're estimating that the feasibility stuff project phase could be in the $300,000 range.
How much?
In the $300,000 range.
Okay, so this is the beginning of, okay, so you didn't say that here, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, and then the other question is, once they get the transferability situation, worked out up in State Water Contractors, this would then be able to take our water and put it in the bank without
Absolutely. Be another avenue for storage and recovery.
Okay, so I guess you want a motion. I'll move on. What is Board Order 7C1?
D1.
7D1.
Oh, B1, I'm sorry, D1.
I'll second that motion.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, I had one question, Dwayne. What's the percolation amounts on that Big Rock?
For the most part, I would, my best guess would be off the scale. In other words, you'd be hard pressed to find it. You know, it doesn't. It's if you look at the aerial photograph, you can see it just perks like. You know, there's very rocky, and it's going to be a great place to perk water. I'm confident of that.
And then also, we wouldn't let it flow all the time due to habitat or?
Well, that's, we would sure want to make sure that we aren't creating any environmental wetlands or other things through the application here.
So we'd let it dry up periodically?
Likely, and that'll just normally happen because there's just no real way to keep this flowing 365 days a year. It would be very rare.
I think that we should turn it into a recreational trout pond for our constituents, for everybody to enjoy. That's my thought. They do it down in Orange County with Santa Ana Rivers and Lake and all of them, so.
Any more questions or discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Shelley Sorsable,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Frank Donato,
Yes.
Justin Lane,
Yes.
Robert Garris,
Yes.
Marlon Barnes,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Carried, thank you. Anything else from the planning committee? No. Okay, we'll move along to item 7E1, Little Rock Creek Irrigation District Hauled Water Memorandum of Understanding. Dwayne, who will?
Yes, I'll also turn this one over to Mr. Knudsen for the staff report.
Good evening again. Staff and the Water Resource Operations Committee are both recommending that the board approve an MOU between AVEK and Little Rock Creek Irrigation District, which will allow us to release or transfer banked water to Little Rock Creek Irrigation District for the use of providing hauled water to the communities such as Juniper Hills. As you recall, last summer, Little Rock, prior to that, they were providing hauled water to companies that were hauling that water, potable water, to the community of Juniper Hills for individuals and property owners that need water to supplement either low producing wells or no wells. They cut that off late last summer due to some legal interpretations of the judgment and providing production rights outside of their service area. So in that interim period, AVEK stepped up and let those water haulers pull water from our Eastside water treatment plant while we worked on a long-term solution that would get us AVEK out of the hauled water business and back to a purveyor. So we came up with this MOU, and Little Rock Creek Irrigation District is in agreement with it, where we would simply, as I mentioned, release banked water from our Eastside water treatment plant, or Eastside water bank, which is pretty close to the Little Rock Creek Irrigation District boundary and their recovery wells. They would, at their cost, pump that water out of the groundwater basin and provide it to the hauled water companies for use within AVEK's service area.
I'm confused here. So it's Little Rock Creek irrigation water that we're giving back. We're going to,
Well, it's actually AVEK water
it's AVEK water?
that AVEK has paid for and banked in the Eastside water bank. They're simply pumping it out of the groundwater basin and providing it to the hauled water companies.
Okay, and it's, Little Rock's going to be pumping it out on our behalf?
Yes.
Well, I have a I don't want to say concern, things he hasn't done, is that why aren't we doing this where a lot of these people need help in Antelope area? I just want to bring that out because once this is decided tonight, all those people down there, they go through this almost every other year And in fact, one person got killed, as we all know, back in Acton about a year and a half ago. Some guy, idiot shot somebody because they're hauling water. I just want to know, from a legal standpoint, we cannot discriminate from area to area in our boundaries. Are we going to make this an agency policy change? Yeah, I'm nervous here. I'm really nervous with this. I think we should, not that I don't want to help out the people who have well problems. What I'm worried about is that AVEK becomes now a primary source once we start this MOU, and it's our water. What precedence does that set? Because this MOU should be for the entire agency.
It is. So in essence, what this is this is a mechanism where the hauled water providers can provide and acquire water, AVEK water from Little Rock, and be able to service the entire AVEK service area, whether it's Acton or areas of Kern County. They'd have to pay the cost for the hauling, but
I would ask the board and staff that we continue this a little longer and get I want a legal opinion on this, because this is something this agency has never done before. And it will set a precedence. I know a lot about the haul water business. And I think there should be, I don't have a problem working a solution or a mechanism that can help these people, but where does AVEK step back and say, we can't service you any more haul water? That's the question I want to know, is where's our escape mechanism from this whole thing? Because there's a lot, once this gets out, there's a lot of people I'm worried about. Are they gonna have to prove that their wells are in working condition, not working condition? Or are they gonna turn off their wells because they don't wanna fix their pump and just call up 1-800-AVEK, haul water, and have the water delivered to them? I think we need to look at that.
well, we can certainly refer back to the committee to review that, but the cost of the hauled water is far significant than any other water source that's available.
No, it's not, Dwayne. I own 3 of them, okay? You're talking to a rancher. That's one thing. I am a rancher, I own wells, and it's not true. Because it costs about $250 a load, and a new nice pump runs about $2,000 to replace it. And a lot of people don't have that $2,000 right now. They'd rather pay $250 for a load of water to get by. And I'm nervous. I'm nervous about this situation, because we are now going to become a primary source. I need a legal opinion on this, because we have not been addressed, the board, on doing this ever before. This is been the biggest concern of the real estate industry, is how do we get the county to deliver haul water? It's been a big thing. I'm not saying that the direction you're going is bad. I'm not being negative here, but we need to. This is a policy. This is a complete policy change, because Acton and Agua Dulce is full of dried wells.
I understand that.
And I don't think it should be a memorandum of a specific area of Little Rock Creek. It's going to be a memorandum of the Antelope Water Agency boundaries, that if their well, they can't get water out of the well or collapse, whatever it is, that they're going to be able to buy water from different Roseman, District 40, or D37 down there, and Little Rock Creek on the east side.
The water haulers can buy water from anybody. They don't necessarily have to buy it from us. This is just a method in which to allow those water haulers that were buying their water from.
What do we need to do anything then? Okay, you made a good point. So what do we need to do anything then? They can buy water they can right now. Why are we doing this?
Because those other agencies are not providing water to them. That's why.
Weren't they getting water before from like tailwater or something?
Yeah, Carson Brothers and people like that. I just wrote, I don't,
Okay, well, we can refer it back to the.
let's talk about it,
Let's just
we'll
refer back to the committee and we'll try and have the committee answer those questions.
Okay.
What problem will that cause Little Rock?
Nothing at the present time. What it'll do is just delay the resolution of the problem. I mean, we're still providing the water to the hauled water customers now, so.
That's what.
So we can continue on until such time as this occurs.
So the passage of this MOU just allows Little Rock Irrigation District to do what they had done for many years in the past.
Correct.
And it was pointed out to them that there was a problem because of the
Source of the water.
source of the water, and this
Correct.
just solved that source of the water.
Correct.
So I'm a little bit confused why you think that opens us up to concerns throughout the valley. We're trying to solve a problem that came up, actually, it's brought to the water master.
Well, that's what we need to talk about, because we haven't discussed it. This is the first I've heard of it.
And was this MOU vetted with our attorneys, Lee and Bill?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you see any concerns with it as it's written at this point? Listening to what was brought up tonight?
Well, not as the form of the agreement, that's what we reviewed.
Okay.
In terms of these broader policy concerns, that was something not asked to opine on it.
Okay, so,
Well, I have another concern. If that's the case, it's no different than these guys drilling new wells, because they're gonna have to put a meter, I mean, they can't put a meter on because the well doesn't work, but they're gonna prepay the water of $415 or $50 an acre foot, give us that money to put the water back in the ground. Well, what's the difference?
well, that's what, I'm not
That's what I'm
catching,
saying, I don't know, we need
I'm
to
not
talk.
catching what the.
I'm not either.
But we should look at that.
Yeah.
And if that hasn't been, the policy hasn't been vetted, then I would agree with that.
Yeah, because whatever we do to help these people, it's gotta be uniform, and we gotta figure out what I don't understand it. Lee, what do you think?
I think we ought to take a look at it based on your comments and provide the board with an opinion as to whether or not this is consistent with.
Well, I don't, you got 5 water masters, and one of them's District 40, and are they gonna be happy that we're gonna approve an ordinance that would affect them and their district? I think it'd be nice to at least notify them, give them upfront that we're gonna go in this direction. We have the water is not the issue, it's just the policy, and that's the only thing I'm bringing up.
Okay, we will review the issue at a future meeting. Item 8A, bills payable, consideration and possible action for the period of March 16, 2018 to March 31st, 2018, and the supplement for the same time period.
I move that we pay the bills and the supplement.
I'll second it.
Are there any questions on the bills payable? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Shelley Sorsable,
Yes.
Keith Dice,
Yes.
Frank Donato,
Yes.
Justin Lane,
Yes.
Robert Karas.
Yes.
Marlon Barnes,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
Carried. Item 8B, general manager's report. Dwayne?
Thank you, Board President Dias. Here's the general manager's report. The April 1st snow survey was, we had a wet, cold March. It's really helped save us from our record low snowpack. However, it's really kind of small and late in the year. It's because we'll show you some charts to show you that it helped. It saved us from probably having a reduction in our allocation, 20%. So that part's good. And the snow water content is about 52% of average, and in the northern Sierra it's only 50 to 41% of average. So we're still pretty low. And these are the state snowpack. Remember, this line here is average, and you can see we're down in this general region. As you can see, the normal trend is for this to continue to disintegrate over time. Here's the central portion. You can see it was a little bit better in the central, but we're still below average with regards to the current snow levels. And here's the southern, I believe this is the east, this is the southern portion of the state. So here's the totals for the whole state. You can see the average equivalent is 13.5 inches, and it's about 49% of the average, just to give you an idea. This is our northern Sierra precipitation. You can see here that here you got a flat line over the last few days. It's probably increased here a little bit, but we're still below average, but not necessarily the worst year we've ever had. And this is the central portion of the state. You can see over here, this is the portion that we're looking at. And it's still below average. And then the southern portion here, as you can see. Here's the, you can see the increase in Orville as this comes through, and then this is the San Luis Reservoir. Good news with San Luis is they were able to do some pumping during this period and get us close to average. Here's our wonderful reservoir charts. You can see total capacity is about 60%. We should be at 78%, so not too bad, really, considering the artificially low reservoir levels in Orville. And the good news here, San Luis is pretty much close to, fairly close to its average flow, or average storage, I should say. We're still maintaining at 20% of table A, which is 28,969 acre feet. We maintained our 60 to 39% carryover, and these water supply delivery plans, you can see this, these are the numbers that we spoke to you earlier about. And here's the treated water deliveries. The current flow, 16 million gallons a day. Last year we were at 16 million gallons, so we're consistent. Roseman's at 4. Just started that plan up a few days ago. And you can see where the actors were on the 1.2 million gallons a day. On the east side, water bank, we're running 1.6, and the west side water bank, the 1 million gallons a day. So and then this is a new total that provides you with the amount of actual delivered water that we have today. On the water banking front, you can see that our current recharge rate's 15 acre feet a day. Over at the high desert, we're doing 3.5 over in the east side water bank and 60 acre feet a day, as opposed to 200 acre feet that we were doing last year. This is a chart that we showed you last week. We had the new results. You can see we're still pretty low on THMs. This is the agency's goal, and then this is the MCL. So pretty good shape there. Some status and updates. We got a state water contractors meeting tomorrow in Sacramento. We also have Kids Ag Day at the AV Fairgrounds April 11th, which is tomorrow. And then the AV State Water Contractor meeting is Thursday, April 12th at 6 p.m. at Palmdale Water District. The Aqua JPIA Sexual Harassment and Discrimination Prevention for board members, managers is, training is April 19th. We also have the Aqua Conference that's coming up May 8th through the 11th. And I will be in town other than the trip to Sacramento one day tomorrow. So that would conclude the general manager's report. Other than I would like to at least to acknowledge to the board some of the team and the staff that have done so much to try and get this building ready. Virgil is, he's not here today, he's been off for a couple of days, but he worked really hard to get this thing put together. Patty Rose spent a lot of time with the internal interior decorator, making sure all the desks and all the things got done up correctly, and I wanted to recognize them for their efforts along with Holly and moving forward on this project. And they spent a lot of time, took a lot of effort to make sure that we could get this done and have this meeting tonight to meet that goal. Also, I can tell you that Barzine and his staff has spent hours and hours and hours working here the last 2 or 3 weeks, getting all the electronics and all the gadgets, and there's 1,000 things this thing can do that we haven't been able to demonstrate to you yet, but as we move along, we'll see more and more of those items. So I would be remiss if I didn't give them their due.
It was a true team effort. Thank you very much.
That concludes my general manager's report.
Any questions for Dwayne? Item 9, Director's Report. Rob?
No report.
Marlon? Frank?
No.
Justin?
No.
Gary?
No report.
Shelley?
No report, thank you.
Thank you. Item 10, Attorney's Report. Lee?
No report.
Item 11, closed session. Is there a reason to go into closed session?
Yes, there is. That would be on item D.
D as in David?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's item C. C, as a cat.
Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Move we go into closed session.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Shelley Sourceable,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Frank Donato,
Yes.
Justin Lane,
Yes.
Robert Paris,
Yes.
Marlon Barnes,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
That carries.